You
Ask the
were
Boston
weirdly
guys. I
on beat,
rap,
buddy.
Bro, ask the Boston guys. On the drive up to the Boston end of the year party, I was freestyling for
I'm not
hours.
saying you don't have rhythm. I was just saying getting
Corey
this
got
the
rhythm.
cadence of an obscure 2000s hip hop song. You
Corey
getting
definitely got
that
rhythm.
is impressive, and I'm just complimenting my friend because it's been a week for all of us. How do we want
You see
to?
me? You see what the Washington did to me?
Jesus. One of us just got out of the hospital. One of us has a black eye, and, well, one of us is me. I'm Matt Ryan. Welcome to the 3-on-1 podcast, and I am joined, as always, by Cory Hammond and Big Rob, a.k.a. Bachata Bob, a.k.a. E.R. Bobby, Big Rob Fabian. Last week on the show, we were from the ER. Luckily, everybody's home. Everybody's safe. Everybody's
Definitely
okay.
home.
But we do have big news to start off the podcast, and it's time for the news here on the 3-on-1. This Sunday will be a new version of the pregame show. We will be bringing you something called the Pregame Pod, hosted and curated by me, Matt Ryan, because it's my idea and nobody else will do it, so I've got to do it myself. We will be taking a look around the country, previewing all the games, giving you the last-minute look across the A7FL with a bunch of voices from around the A7FL, including Ron Clark, Jaquan Mason, Dub Alvarez, the 3-on-1 podcast, the Parlay podcast, and, of course, the other side of the ball. You can subscribe to the Pregame Pod now wherever you get the 3-on-1 podcast. It'll drop Sunday mornings right before throw-off, usually around 6 a.m. to give everybody time to listen to it. And also, portions of it will air right before the games of the week and A7FL games all across the country live on A7FL.tv. And now we transition to an editorial here on the 3-on-1 podcast in the news section as we welcome a man who has traveled quite a bit in the 2024 campaign. In 2023, he was an insomniac. This year, he's been riding death row with the BIC. He's undefeated, and it's Trey Robinson joining us here with an editorial. Trey, you have a glass of something. Oh, go for it, Cory. Go ahead.
I was going to say, in the fall, he was an outlaw, so he might be running from something, especially when he shows up week 1 with a death row jersey on. But, Trey, welcome to the 3-on-1 again. As always, a pleasure.
What's up, man? Thank you guys for having me.
So, Trey, you had some stuff that you wanted to get off your chest in terms of an editorial, and after a really productive game last Sunday, go off, sir.
Last week, listening to the podcast from you guys, you guys kept bringing up, night crawlers and insomniacs and those guys, but to be honest, there isn't no comp back west. So Insomniacs has a free ride. It's either going to be a Insomniac or Sick With It. And, as of right now, it's the Insomniacs because Sick With It hasn't proven shit yet. And then in the West, Florida only got 4 teams. So it's an easy bid every single year. So it's
well, we're going on the top 10, and this is a good preview for the top 10 that we're about to do. But we're going on the top 10, Trey, based on the information that we have in front of us this season. So, is there a little bit of shading in some of our opinions based on previous performance and reputation and some of that? I'm sure there is a little bit. But when we're looking at the top 10 week in, week out, and what we're doing is trying to assess where these teams line up, the reason I think, and you were nice and comfortably on a BIC roster that, it seems like wherever you go, it seems like you're able to find success. So that's a good thing. What separates BIC for you that you would make that claim coming in and you wanted to get it off your chest that basically, to paraphrase you, the Nightcrawlers ain't shit and the West is ass. And those aren't my words.
that's I will say that what separates the West, BIC from the rest of us is that we're on a mission. You guys always mention about, having all the superstars and legendary players on the, BIC, but you all just want to win, bro. And a lot of shit, it's just so what Sturry say, or what certain individuals on that team say, that's what goes.
Well, you last year were on a team that in 2023, at least, the conversation was relatively similar to some of the things that people say about BIC now. You were on a team that, had a lot of kind of like air quotes star players. You have a quarterback that was kind of the leader of the team and the unquestioned kind of like leader in the offense, hypothetically. I don't know. But what's the difference in your mind in a tangible sense that our fans could kind of latch onto that kind of separates what was there last year to what you're experiencing this year now as a member of the New Jersey BIC?
Is it different, Cory? Loyalty? Like me personally, you ask me personally, bro, is just loyalty. That was the main reason why I left Insomnia, because loyalty wasn't there. But like with BIC, it just seemed like, it's just like real like real family.
It's camaraderie.
Like it's fun, bro. It's fun. Like
is it camaraderie, Trey? Like
yeah.
Like you feel like you're part of something,
right? Like you feel me? Bigger than myself. You feel me?
Well, just to kind of break kayfabe a little bit, like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but preseason, even going into this situation, it seemed like there was a little bit of hesitation from you. And, I don't want to go into too much detail, but obviously I knew that because it was communicated to me from you. There was a little bit of hesitation what your role was going to be, where you kind of lined up. Would you now, after the fact, after it's kind of played out, would you now say that was just honest coaching, GMing from Kenny Stansbury, giving you, the real expectations of what to expect going into the season? Or was it just the unfamiliarity of you're basically in a huddle with guys that you've literally just met for the first time, and now you have to, be a part of this brotherhood with basically hit the ground running?
Right. First and foremost, it wasn't Stan. It was K-Wack. Why we do that?
So another thing that he's not the best at. Okay, so pod guest check, setting expectations checked. Okay, K-Wack, you got a lot of positives, but this negatives list is building. But keep going, Trey.
But no, it was K-Wack, and we talked a lot. And I told K-Wack, like, bro, I don't care if I play defense. I don't care if I play offense. I just want to win. Feel me? I want to be home where I'm from, here in Philly. Feel me? We're all started at, and now that I'm back home and actually being able to play for a team that I want to play for, and at the same time be around guys who actually want me to be there. Like it's just it's different, yeah. But I don't care about starting. I don't care about you feel me, like all these stat lines and all other shit. It's just about, feel me, it's just about winning.
Well, then let's get a little deeper into the dermis level then of that, because going to the BIC from the Insomniacs on the outside looking in, a lot of people would look at that as a chip-chasing move, a anti-Cory Hammond move, and I disagree with that. If you're looking at it as like, I don't care, I want to be on a team with a winning culture, what are the things that are stopping other teams and other divisions from doing that? What are the issues out in Las Vegas that would necessitate it for you to say, I'm going back home? What are the reasons why there's a little bit of a quagmire between, let's say, the top 4 teams and then teams that are still trying to figure it out? What are the cultural differences to where when the Animals are playing the BIC, sure, the BIC are going to win maybe by 3 or 4 scores, but there's going to be this level of intensity that we may not see with other teams. What is it that we don't see on the East Coast that's going on the West Coast, to where these guys are saying iron sharpens iron, where we see it in some games, but then in others, we're seeing historic blowouts?
The difference is that on the East, you got more comp every week than you do on the West. Like, every week it's somebody like you. Every week it's someone like the Adams. Every week it's someone like the Watchmen. You feel me? And those are all good teams. You go back west and you playing guys like, oh, sorry, Cory, the Renegades.
No. I'm honestly, you finish, but I'm gonna disagree with you a little bit there. But keep going.
Okay. But anyways, and then you look at the West Coast and you say, okay, every week you got the Hunters. Every week you got the Krypton. Every week you got, like, it's not. It's different. Like I don't know. I don't know how to answer your question, Matt, because you're just like.
Yeah. Well, I think what's interesting is that you're a test case without your opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You're a test case for guys, and this is what they're saying, not me, but for guys saying that the comp in Vegas competes on the East. Because let's just be clear. You came in week 1 against the Snow Tribe team, and maybe we'll talk about them a little bit later, but you came in week 1 and made an immediate impact. You had an interception that ended up being a touchdown because you did the whole Northeast thing that I don't know if you were doing that when you were like a 14-year-old playing in PA. I'm exaggerating, everybody. He wasn't 14. It felt like it though. And when you got on offense, you had that one run and it seemed like nobody could tackle you. And you played a team in the Snow Tribe, which, and this is no disrespect, Snow Tribe really kind of, and we could have our opinion about them based on what they've been able to put out there on film. Snow Tribe kind of lines up to be one of those teams, just like my team, the Renegades, and I'll be accountable for what it is. You look at the Renegades film and tape, yeah, there's some things to like, and you'll see some guys do tackle, and maybe we can get into the semantics there. But when you look at the record, you look at the point differential, and you look at the game control, Snow Tribe and Renegades so far this season, even though, the first half against BIC, Renegades looked kind of cool for a little bit, and the Animals game, we were competing even into the last drive. The Watchmen one didn't go the same, I'll tell you that right now. But the argument would be from the other side is that, yes, there's an upper echelon of the Northeast Division, and it's a little bit deeper than the West, but there's still the same teams that are still trying to find their way and still have some of the similar problems. And they would use you as an example as one of the top players in the division coming to our division and able to compete right off the bat on the biggest stage and pretty much earning a spot in the rotation for BIC. So,
but Rob, hey, Cory.
Yeah, go.
Cory, I'm from Philly. It started here in Philly.
Thank you.
I went to Vegas. I'm a Philly-born person.
It's a reverse narrative. No, it's a reverse narrative. They're saying Trey could come out here to compete. No, Trey went out there and dominated and came back home. What are we not?
Thank you.
Not where he's from, but what he was able to do in division, and then you can take that film and as a comp bring it over. So again, Rob, I didn't say it was.
I was doing the same thing at the age 17, Cory. Here,
yeah, I've seen the film.
There's actual film.
Come on, Cory, man. Nah.
Because Vegas likes to run with that too. Like, yeah, Trey's over there cooking.
I was doing the devil's advocate. I wasn't saying that was my opinion. I was saying that without Trey's actual personal opinion, Trey is one of the things that is used to equate the talent level in the divisions. And this shouldn't be the entire segment shouldn't be a knock on the Vegas division as a whole, because there's a lot good going on there. There's a lot that needs to improve. But when you break it down to the game in, game out competition level, what is the biggest difference that you've seen so far in the couple of weeks that you've been playing in the Northeast?
I'll say most offenses like to put up points fast. That's what I say. It's a lot faster here, on the East, a lot faster.
The speed of the processing speed in which things are happening, or the actual on-field game speed?
Yeah.
Man, I'm about to ask you what we want to know, Trey.
Go ahead.
Last year's Insomniac's team beat this year's BIC team. That's what I want to know.
Fuck no. No. The fuck no.
Talk to me.
If you think it, first and foremost, the fucking Insomniacs is 6-6. Damn near first quarter with the pit bosses, bro. If you think the Insomniac's gonna come out here on the East Coast and start slow, they gonna get blown the fuck out by halftime.
Right.
That ain't happening.
Let's do it group by group, and let's start with the quarterback. Now, Sterry, in my opinion, has the running edge by far on Scooter. What is your breakdown on BIC Insomniacs at the quarterback position based on your intimate knowledge of being on the roster for both teams?
Cory, Cory. How long has Sterry been playing this game?
He's been playing since 2021.
2021 was his first year.
Okay.
And before that, he was playing overseas professionally, not speaking the language and just showing up to games and balling out. So, yeah.
Mhm.
But 2021 in the A7FL.
Okay. So you going to sit here and tell me that, well, first of all, you going to sit here and compare Sterry versus Scott Hamilton?
I'm asking you to, because you're on both rosters.
So, but I'm sitting here telling you, bro, it's not a comparison, Cory.
Okay, well, no, I'm not saying that you've obviously made your point clear. We're just trying to further and in more detail illustrate what the differences are. So, passing ability, who's the more accurate passer, Sterry or Scott Hamilton?
Sterry.
That would be the only place that I might disagree, but because Scott has a lot more time in general. Okay, who has the stronger arm?
Sterry.
Who has more control of the huddle?
Sterry.
Who's faster? It's a huge question.
Come on, Cory. Same ass question.
So Sterry Codrington, based on your firsthand experience, is basically a better quarterback at Scooter Hamilton than everything. What about the way in which he processes
the best quarterback in the whole he's the best quarterback in the whole league.
I think that's fair to say, and an opinion that a lot of people would agree with. What about the defensively? And we'll start with the defensive line. AJ McQuaig was a Defensive Player of the Year candidate for the Insomniacs and had, I think, 28 sacks in the regular season. Plus, there was guys like RTC coming in. We had Chris Mouth McWilliams. And one of the defensive lines that we looked at in the West was the Insomniacs defensive line as one of the better ones.
Sure.
What is your comparison between BIC this year, Insomniacs last year?
You talking about AJ? He was a factor last year. Is he a factor this year? Has he been a factor? Was he a factor in Fraud Brawl? No. Why? Because at the same time, we didn't play nobody. It was a God-given ticket to the championship.
Damn.
Come on, bro.
Yeah, just to be clear, I'm not saying that. When Coach James,
Trey, let me ask, before we let you go
Look,
and things get supremely spicy, I'll let you finish your point, but I have one more question for you, because I think it's an interesting hypothetical. If we were listing top 8 teams across the league, let's say every division that has 8 teams gets 2 teams in it. So a division team and a runner-up. And then Baltimore gets 1. Baltimore/DMV gets 1, Jersey gets 2, Nevada gets 2, Florida gets 1, Midwest get 2, Nevada get 2.
Okay.
You get 8 teams.
Okay.
Up and down, 8 teams, national playoff. Would any of the 2 Nevada teams make it to the championship game in that format?
Fuck no.
No. Why would that be?
Like, you mean like the national championship?
Yeah, I'm talking about if you took let's just say it's the BIC, the U, the Watchmen, the Nightcrawlers, Chaos and Heist.
Sick and the
Insomniacs. Those 8 teams. The teams right now that are...
We didn't forget about you, California. You just haven't played a game yet.
Well, LA abstained from this year. We'll just talk about the teams that have played games so far this season. Those are the teams that everybody's looking at to make the national playoff in some form. If it was those 8 teams, what would your Final Four look like?
It would be 1, the Nightcrawlers, because that's an EU ticket. 2,
no,
BIC.
they have to play each other in this 8-team playoff. These teams are playing each other. What's your Final Four?
BIC.
Okay.
Nightcrawlers.
Okay.
Either Sick with it. I got Sick.
So the BIC, the Nightcrawlers, Sick with it, and one more team.
From the Chaos.
So you're saying that the final 4 teams this year if it was an open playoff, everybody plays everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's Sick, Chaos, Nightcrawlers, BIC.
Yeah.
Okay. That's an interesting collection of teams, and obviously you think the BIC are going to walk out.
And last thing, because
Can I tell you why about the Insomniac and Sick with it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to ask you that. I'm very interested.
Because last season, bro, remember, they was up 0-20, bro. And they fucked that game up. I don't think they would never let that happen again.
Well, they played again after that.
Huh?
You're talking about in the championship game, Sick was down 0-20?
Yeah.
But then they also played, and they did.
But they didn't.
They went way up on the Insomniacs in the championship game, and then they let that dwindle down.
That's what I'm talking about. I don't think they'll let that happen again. That was the last time.
You're not going to. I thought you were. Yeah, I thought you were talking about when they went up week 1.
No.
Stick was up.
I'm saying,
you're talking about they're not going to let the
like that was the only from all the games they've had, even up to now, that was the only real competition that they really had. I mean, besides them in the Forest had me sold for a while because that game looked good, but they got fucked out of that game by the officiation. But it's a whole different story.
Well, we'll talk about the Force a little bit more in a little bit, but. All right, so just to kind of summarize, basically what you're saying is you've been out here for the couple weeks playing on the field against New Jersey competition, and your takeaway is that what? In as simple as way as you could put it, in as Trey Robinson a way as you could put it, you've been playing in New Jersey, and your takeaway from New Jersey versus Vegas is?
Nothing. It's the same, bro. It's just, and I'm just saying that because of me. Like, I'm not trying to even be cocky. It's just, it's nothing that's different for me, bro. Because I've been doing the same shit since I was 17 here and there. So me coming back home ain't gonna change the way I plan.
No, not the way you play. I'm talking about kind of like grading the division versus the division, because everybody wants to do that hypothetically, and you're a person that has been in both places at least long enough to have an appointment. What's the difference?
Preparation. You feel me? We do 4 or 5 video calls a week on defense, on offense, scouting, watching film, all kind of shit. Preparation, bro, is different. Like, it's real different. It's just different. It just feel like I ain't gonna cap. Like, BIC feel like something you want to be a part of, Cory. It ain't only because of a ring or a fucking name or nothing. It's because of people, who stand behind BIC. You feel me? I've been trying to come to BIC for the past 2 years, so nobody knew that about KWAC. Feel me?
Well, now a couple others.
Look. It's ain't nothing about ring chasing, none of that shit, because at the end of the day, I was trying to come here.
You just won a ring. That's not ring chasing. You just won a ring.
I know, but I was trying to come here before the ring.
And the easier path, hypothetically, according to Trey, would be in Vegas. All right, so this is the last thing, and we'll leave you alone with this.
All right.
A person a former teammate, has famously said in Eric Shufford, Munchie, my friends are just better. I didn't do the voice, Matt. My friends are just better. Just one word. You've made some new friends. What is your response to Munchie saying that his friends are just better?
Man. Oh, Cory. Don't get me started because it's a lot of animosity already, okay?
All right. But I thought it would be cute, but my bad for putting you in that spot.
No, but it's like, fuck everybody. It's BIC.
Right. Let's go then.
The Insomniacs ain't proved shit to nobody yet. Like, they come on, bro. Cory, Matt, Rob, Cory, like, you honestly think that in the Insomniac, like, first of all, he has put up 72 points last week, you feel me?
Against
they
the
just
Volcanoes, yeah.
75. 75. Yeah.
They got to get past the Chaos. And I don't think Chaos going to lose to them again after losing to us last season. I don't know, man. I don't know, because the way, like, Sonny has been playing this year alone, They ain't the same team we seen last season. They ain't the same team we were last season. I'm sorry. I just don't see it happening, bro.
And on that note, we're going to take a brief timeout, and when we come back, we'll count down the top 10 after a lengthy news segment. It's the 3-on-1 podcast. Don't skip the commercials. That's how I feed my dog. Want some soul food while you're watching the A7FL games at Asbury Park Stadium? Live in New Jersey and just want some great down-home cooking? Support our friends at Carmichael's Southern Cuisine and follow them on Instagram by going to the link in the description for this podcast. Carmichael's Southern Cuisine. Put some south in your mouth. Hey, it's Matt Ryan, and do you want to support some of your favorite A7FL players and the 3-on-1 podcast? Go to tinyurl.com/A7FL merch. That's tinyurl.com/A7FL merch to get special t-shirts featuring me, Rob, Cory, and some of your favorite players and moments from the American Sevens Football League. You can get them now at tinyurl.com/A7FL merch. Buy our stuff. Welcome back to the 3-on-1 podcast. I'm Matt Ryan, joined alongside Big Rob Fabian and Cory Hammond. And it's time for the top 10 here on the 3-on-1 podcast. And gentlemen, we put the number 10 spot to a vote on Monday night, and it was between two Nevada division teams, both undefeated, one being the North Vegas Kryptonite and the other being the Over the Top. And well, recency bias might abide, or people must be loving them boys in the gold jerseys, Cory, because it's the OTT at the 10 spot, winning by an impressive fan vote margin to come in for the first ever 10 fan vote.
And that goes to show you some of the energy behind OTT and their runs so far this year. We kind of shouted them out with a little bit of shade last week because they were wanting to be in the top 10, and well, they earned it because we gave it up to the vote, to the fans, and their fans showed up and showed out. So you look at their result last week, another blowout. They're moving the way that they should be moving, but some tough games are coming up, and it's gonna that 10 spot, guys. It's kind of been cursed. Everybody that ends up in that 10 spot ends up with a bad situation, and the poor Force. We'll talk about them. The poor Force. They went 2 weeks in a row in the 10 spot, and we saw how that treated them. So good luck and shout outs to OTT. But the 10 spot is not the goal; it's just the beginning.
And the 9 spot going to a team, Rob, that remains undefeated, goes into the biggest game of the year for them this week as they battle the City Chaos. Didn't play a perfect game, but a lot of people talking about them Heist boys, the Covington Heist, falling a little bit, hitting in the 9 spot, but not necessarily a drop, just kind of a settling after everything that happened.
And honestly, it's an unfortunate thing that we don't get crossover games because then these things wouldn't be so tough to call, because a team like the Heist that are undefeated going into a new week where they're going to face the next best team in Ohio is kind of like, damn, should they be placed higher? But you got to do the eye test. It's a lot of things that go into these lists, but I'm happy that they're still here. I'm happy that they're still undefeated, and I'm excited for them to play this week.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, being at 9, it's just like we talked about OTT. Right. If they're set and settled by being on the top 10 in early parts of the season, then it's a long season. Even though it's a short season, it is still more important towards the end than the beginning. But guess what? None of the things that happen before this week matter, because really at the end of the day, if they want the respect, if they want the recognition, if they want all of the accolades that go with being a winner, there's a game on their schedule, and if they end it with more points than their opponent, then they're going to receive those things. Now, when that happens, if that happens, we don't know, and we'll see. But then what we'll have to do is we'll have to then look at the division as a whole and the Chaos specifically, who I'm pretty confident, but maybe not 100% sure that we're going to mention later on in this list. If those two teams can create a rivalry that's not only interesting, but gives us great football, like we saw out of that division, just not from those two teams, shout out to the Octane and the Crush.
That game was,
and it was good,
bonkers,
and that's what happens sometimes when you have those lower level teams that are matched up against each other, because teams know when it's a really important game because of how good the teams above them are. So sometimes,
and the broadcaster too, I want to shout out. I did not catch his name. He needs to speak his name more, because that guy called one hell of a broadcast. So shout out to him. Always makes me happy as the guy who kind of has to be the front man for all of us here in the announcing department, local 696963 of the Announcer and Pie Makers Union. Shout out to local 630. But
these are your sons, Matt. These are your children. You don't even know their name.
But when it comes to that division, the Heist are undefeated. They have the highest average offense they've ever had. Like, this is the best performing offense empirically that the Heist have had at any point in the 3 seasons they've been playing.
After losing Seth Chambers.
Right.
I was about to bring that up, and they've not allowed a sack as of yet. We'll see what happens when, that chaos defense shows up on Sunday.
And to kind of,
but
go ahead, Matt.
In terms of matchups, this is the biggest matchup I think on the schedule this week in the A7FL in terms of where the standings play out, because this could decide the Midwest Division champion. There's a lot of other big games on the schedule, but I'm talking about in terms of this week. This is the game that you kind of want to keep your eye on, because this has a lot of different effects on how the national playoff may roll out. Because remember, when we talked about it during the schedule reveal, the Midwest 2 seed right now has to play against the Northeast. They may have to play, against the Eastern Conference. So if the Heists get this win and they ride this out and they win the Midwest, and the Chaos are in the 2nd seed, we could see possibly Chaos Nightcrawlers, Chaos BIC, Chaos U, Chaos Watchmen.
I don't think that's what Brent wants to see. No.
Brent's not trying to get smothered.
But that
Ooh, I like what you did there as another father. Dad jokes all the way. And as Matt mentions that he's the TV dad of all these announcers, I think the other thing that let's just put it out there. And it's kind of a testament to one of the kind of like the deeper, morals to the story in the world and the culture of football. Because off season, Chaos look at what they got, and they look directly in the face of their offensive coordinator, Skylar Hurd, and they say, "Hey, you, buddy, you're the problem. Bye." And that's summarized, and it's not air quotes verbatim, but Skylar Hurd was sent off packing from the Chaos as the reason that their offense struggled. Okay? Now he's gone a fresh start, and whether it was Cap from the Chaos and they were lying and they didn't know what they were talking about, or like a true man, Skylar Hurd faced adversity and improved not only what he was doing, but probably his work ethic, and got better and got, started recruiting, and he got that fresh start. Let's give him a quick shout out before now they face off, and we'll see, if he continues to get praise. But Matt mentioned it. Their offense has never been better. And one of the biggest moves involved with that side of the ball is the guy that got fired from the offensive coordinator position and was the scapegoat for the Sin City Chaos last year, offensive coordinator Skylar Hurd. So that's the Heist in a nutshell. Who's the next team, Matt?
That is a team that has impressed us. They had a bye week this past week in week 2, so we didn't get to see them play. But Oodalali, are they with a big game on the schedule this week? It is coming in at the 7th spot, the Silk City Animals. They play the Rahway Snow Tribe this Sunday on A7FL.TV.
Right. So when I was slightly disagreeing with you about the magnitude of that Chaos Heist game, I was only disagreeing because this game, if I'm not mistaken, has a lot of playoff implications in regards to.
This is a winner go home game.
That for Snow Tribe. I don't think Snow Tribe could lose this game and consider themselves in the running at all.
No, because after this, they have the Buzz next week on the 28th. Then on May 5th, they have the BIC. And then on the 19th, they have their final game of the season in Baltimore. This is the Animals. They have to go against the Watchmen. So for both teams, this feels like a must-win.
And potentially they could lose 1 or 2 games for the rest of the season.
Just to set the table, right? How many teams from the Northeast, New Jersey and Baltimore, how many make the playoffs this year?
You put me on the spot, Cory, so you've got to give me
My
a
bad.
second.
It's ever-changing, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, what I've been telling...
I know, I have to go off of what I have in front of me.
My bad. Because what I've been telling... Yeah, I gotcha.
Give me a second. You got to...
So just to clarify, because I think it's something that everybody's thinking about, how many teams from New Jersey and Baltimore, considered the Northeast, make the playoffs?
So there are 6 teams that would be getting in, and we would have a wild card round on June 2nd. So on June 2nd, and this coming in as breaking news, I think they'll break this on the other side of the ball, Memorial Day will be makeup week for A7FL Nevada for week 2 after an unfortunate situation to where we had to have the games moved. Those games will be made up on Memorial Day. So that one will be an interesting addition to the schedule. So that will be a make or break week for quite a few teams. And the way it's set up now, it'll be 6 teams from the Northeast, 6 teams from Nevada in a wild card week, and then they would reseed for a division Final Four, which would be on June 9th, and obviously Florida and the Midwest would have their own playoffs, their own internal wild card and divisional rounds before Conference Elite Eights that will take place on June 23rd, with the National Final Four taking place on June 7th, and our national championship slated for July 21st. 1 year, just under 2 days from 1 year since the Bunak blessing in the desert. But the Animals, that matchup huge against the Snow Tribe. The Snow Tribe not making the list this week because of a performance against the DC Buzz, to where people would probably argue, why aren't the DC Buzz on here? Well, their offense didn't score a touchdown. And they scored 2 defensive touchdowns.
2 defensive touchdowns that the Snow Tribe pretty much gave to them. Honestly, the Snow Tribe, yes, they have improved. You can see it. They did play their best game of the year, even in a loss. We can definitely see that. Anybody with eyes can see that. But the truth of the matter is, they still have work to do. And they're running into a team like the Animals right now, who I feel like, even if they still have work to do, they're clicking on more cylinders than the Snow Tribe are. So it's very dangerous. It's a very dangerous matchup. That's not who I would have wanted to run into this week with no wins, to make sure it's like this, because it's a win or go home. I wouldn't have wanted to run into the Animals. Now the Snow Tribe have no choice but to show and prove, grab their nuts, and go full steam and try to win this game. It can be a very good game. It could be a close game if the Snow Tribe do what they're supposed to do. But the way the Animals have been moving, I think it's going to be pretty dark for the Snow Tribe.
Well, I think the biggest difference between what we've seen from the Snow Tribe and what we've seen from the Animals so far this year, if we don't want to get into the semantics of this position, that position, this group of guys, that group of guys, the Animals know who they are. The Animals play to their strengths, and the Animals have come together as a collective unit that is complementary football on both sides of the ball. They have the guys that they want to go in on the 3-on-1 coverage, the guys that they want returning 3-on-1s. Guys have roles, guys know their place, and guys are also rooting for other guys in their positions to make plays. They know who they are. They have all of that figured out. The Snow Tribe, identity-wise, are still vacillating back and forth, in my opinion, between a lot of different things. And some of the...
Great vocabulary.
Vacillating, yeah. It's harder to spell though. I'll tell you that. There's a C somewhere in there. Check it out. But when they came in week 1 and still didn't know what they were going to do at quarterback, to the point where they had Keels, who was the proven commodity. They had the new toys that they wanted to kind of play with. And they came out with Mike Liberty. And shout out to Mike Liberty on one of the best catches we're gonna show this season. And that's my cerebral guy, so I got to give him credit for that. Is Rob rolls his eyes worse than even when he was in the hospital.
Not yet. I didn't roll him yet. It was a great catch.
But for me, the Snow Tribe, if they develop a solid identity, so they know who they're going to send it out on third down as a defensive package when it's third and long, or when it's second and short, they know what play to call if they want to take a shot and make it look like they're going to try to convert the first down, but they're really going for a quick and easy touchdown because they feel confident they can convert the 3rd and 2 on a short play. So that they know, hey, we need a good 3-on-1 return. This is our guy that does 3-on-1 returns. He's got a chance at a score or great field position. And they have a go-to type of situation when they're down and they need a drive, that they can call plays so that they can, consistently convert third downs. If they have that and they show that against the Animals, the Snow Tribe's roster has never been, in my opinion, their issue. It's their use of the roster and the individuals on the roster's ability to accept whatever that role is, defined as. And guys are easy to really gravitate towards that. Look no further than our guest this week in Trey Robinson. When you define a role, even if he's a little bit grumbly at first, if it's set in stone, look, this is how you're going to help us, and just ball out, and then we'll see what we can do later. And you accept that role, you go into the game knowing what your job is, and then working to be the best that you can be at what you already excel at. Now, if you get more of a role, or if you do a great job and you are featured more in either the offense or the defense, that's an added benefit. But what I think, and this is from talking to the guys on Snow Tribe, talking to Rob, who knows, intimately some of the knowledge, not Diddy intimately, but we get it. Talking to his really close friend and Ant Live, guys are still questioning who they are on that list of names for Snow Tribe. So if they can figure that stuff out and they can pull off a big win against the Animals, the paradigm shifts in the Northeast, and we can start talking about all kinds of crazy scenarios. Because if the Animals can hang with the U, can beat the Renegades, but also lose to Snow Tribe, it just shows the parity that exists in the Northeast. And then week in and week out, it's more about the matchup than, this is going to be a win. They're not as good as us.
Right.
And we will move on here in the top 10 to a number 6 team. And for more information on the top 10 and how it's made up, well, that's not yours to know. We make it up. It's our list. Nah. See, I like saying that every once in a while because people tend to treat this like it's the BCS and it matters. And I find that very interesting. I find that the value of the top 10 list in this league, much like the orb, is a very developed and perceived value. Our number 7 team, the Baltimore Watchmen, and guys, a bounce back week for them and a bounce down week for Cory. How's the eye?
Honestly, my wife was just like, "You got a black eye." I was like, "No, I don't." And nobody punched me. So that's literally the impact hitting the ground, the rubber ground. So, I mean, that was one instance.
Well, what does Matt say when he hears some crazy shit? Be like, "Oi,
engineer."
Yeah, there it is.
Well, listen, let's break down the Watchmen, because they had a game against the Renegades. And there's 2 types of teams in this league that sit where the Watchmen sit. You either see a team on the schedule and then guys take off and kind of hang out or turn it into a chill day. It's kind of like an extended bye week, and they win, but not super impressively. Or they look at the game that they're playing, not the opponent, but the physical demanding game that they're playing, and approach it the same way no matter who's on the schedule. And before the Renegades offense hit the field, the Watchmen were already up 14-0. So That's how it started, and it ended 55-12. Shout outs to Roldy Lucien, the Wagner product, for catching a touchdown from Chaboy. And bro, he deserves to get shouted out because I needed that touchdown. But when you look at what the Watchmen are exactly who they were last year, with that just demon on their shoulder hanging in the back that if they eventually do get in a close game that we're going to start to question it. But when they were blowing us out, all smiles, everyone was playing 100%. Nobody was giving any human being in a black jersey a break at all. They meant to dominate the game from start to finish. And other than the 3-on-1, which shouts out to Goose for returning the 3-on-1, and we all know why. You guys don't. I'm not going to bring it up here, but my Baltimore guys know for 100% sure how that went. The Watchmen set out on Sunday to just be a dominant team, whether it was filmed or I had that effect on Baltimore. I'm sure they had a really great time, as did I. But their defense is for real. Their corners were in like this perfect coverage all game. And yeah, there were guys open here and there. Yeah, I got about 10 completions, but as soon as guys catch the ball, except for that one touchdown, tackle immediately. So offense, humming, defense, dominant, and they have a chance to potentially have a rise week if they take care of business this week. But they're facing a much tougher opponent. No disrespect to my guys, but they're facing a much tougher opponent in BIC than they faced in the Renegades. So shout outs to the Watchmen, number 17 on this list.
And we'll move on to the number 6 spot. And Rob, I'm sorry for all the voicemails you're going to get this week. It's a team that had, I would say, a quality performance against one of the best teams we've probably ever seen. The Patterson U are at 6. And
well, here's
they
the
play
fun about
Cory
making a
on
list
Sunday.
like this. Yeah,
Oh no, what did we do?
Set Cory
What
up
have
for
we
failure.
done? Oh
We set him
God.
up. We set him
This
up.
is Trey.
Oh God,
Trey,
we killed our friend.
Stop. Trey said, yeah, well, what you didn't. Trey said this in our interview. I signed up knowing that the Northeast was going to consist of this schedule, right? It's and even when we get to Snow Tribe, those guys aren't going to take it easy on me. They don't like me.
No.
and the Buzz, by the way, are just different Baltimore guys. So like the shout outs to the U, but let's talk about them at number 6.
I mean, honestly, this is the fun part about these lists, right? They're going to hear you at 6 and be like, damn, what a significant drop. But what ends up happening is most of the teams that are ahead of the U, I mean, all of the teams that are ahead of the U have no losses. No losses. We're at that point in the season where, you start to separate certain things and certain teams. And we know at this point, the Watchmen will never go above the U. It starts to line up a certain way. The Watchmen can't go above the U, even if BIC was to miraculously lose some way, somehow.
Well, then we'd be in the same stupid bullshit that we were in last year.
That would suck. That would definitely suck. Then it creates that three-way nonsense that I'm pretty sure we don't want to deal with. But, right now, it's just they're just going to always be behind whoever beat them. If you face them, you know how this power ranking stuff goes. If you face them, it's the head-to-head, man. The head-to-head is going to keep
in case there's the rare scenario where, let's say, Watchmen lost to the U, but then the U have like 2 losses or 3 losses or, whatever. And I'm not predicting that. You don't use that as ammunition against me. But, maybe that'll happen. And the Watchmen, if they beat BIC, then we're going to have a fun conversation. And there's going to be some team that's not in the Northeast Division, dancing about it because they'll be undefeated and everybody in the Northeast will have lost. But I think when we talk about the U, we first have to mention that even though the game, and this is what I would say, and you guys were there and you guys saw it, and I think BIC did have the game control, right? They were kind of the team in control most of the game. The U never really went away as the U wouldn't, and I'm sure at some individual moments, you guys kind of looked at what was happening on the screen. A little breaking kayfabe there. On the screen, and you were like, yeah, the U might come back. But that differential, to me, had everything to do with the Asbury bounce, that miraculous just doink, and right back to BIC on that return. To me, that's what made it the 2-score game. Much like other, knockout, drag-out fights between these two teams, the football was high level. So I don't think anybody looks at the U and says that, they're ass, except for maybe K-Mac about that.
There were some things we saw in that game that a couple of teams might feel like they can exploit. They saw with dominant offensive line play that the U's defensive line, who is really good, can look quite mediocre in some ways. And
I don't know. We're talking about specifically the one dude, and we'll talk about him later. I don't know how many teams can look at their roster and be like, yeah, let's copy that. That's the formula.
For sure. Yeah. But then we also have to, there was things that happened in that game, and there's something else that I think we didn't really mention anywhere, but some of those guys on the U played flag.
Yeah.
Some of them played that morning. Some of them played the day before.
Health.
So health is important, and that was one of my biggest problems with BIC last year.
I was about to ask, Rob, is this the limitation? Is this the wall that the BIC ran into last year?
Mm-hmm. I do believe that it's something very similar. Certain players not showing up. I don't even think the U was fully staffed. They didn't have Dion. There was a few guys missing, but not that it really mattered. But against BIC,
they had Chick though.
Who had Chick? BIC?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about the U.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, I'm talking about the U. Honestly, priorities, man. Like, I get it. Flag's important, but if you can't have some of your best players playing flag and then popping up to an A7 game and thinking it's sweet, like, it's just not that. And, it's not. Was it that important of a game? Can we be honest? No. Does it change a lot? No, it doesn't really change a lot. It just moves some people around. But I promise you, the U's not home sulking and depressed about losing to BIC. They know what they lost to, and if they're the team that they think they are, they'll make the adjustments to beat them the second time they play.
Well, and two things, and then I think we'll wrap up the U, right? But this rivalry has always given the edge, in my opinion, to the team that is more motivated to get the revenge. The other thing is that this rivalry, in almost every instance, has always gone to whoever has the better offensive line. And just like in 2022, BIC's championship year, where the U lost multiple games in the regular season, one of their worst regular season efforts that they've ever put out in an A7FL season, they still made the championship and only lost to BIC by 2. So even though it sounds like I'm trying to hedge the bet so that the you guys don't choke slam me, they're still going to choke slam me. One of my great friends in a scrimmage, Big Mo, Ryan Shamar says, hey, let's keep it easy on the quarterbacks. They got us play a season. And first play leveled me in a scrimmage. So in a game on television, I'm sure it's going to be the same respect that I would expect from all of those guys. And they are literally going to try to put me in a grave. However, the last thing anybody should do is look at a great dynastic team and quickly go to write their obituary. And I always like to equate to other brands of football for maybe our newer fans that are newer to the league and don't know the long history of the U. But just think about how many years it took for the media to finally declare the New England Patriots, when Tom Brady was their quarterback, dead. Because it was year after year, oh, that's it, oh, that's it, oh, that's it. And it wasn't until it was. And then obviously that will eventually happen. Father Time and the enemy of time is undefeated. But if you're really quick to write off the U because they lost a game that looked a little bit worse because there was an onside kick recovery situation at the end of the game than it actually was, I think you'd be mistaken about the Patterson U in the 2024 A7FL season to write them off yet.
I will never write off the U because I think that's pretty much insane. But one issue that you did mention is Father Time is probably the most undefeated player I've ever met. The problems that the U are having right now are not brand new problems. The problems that the U are having right now are the exact problems they had in 2021 when they won their last championship. The league is getting, listen, I will always bring up this quote. Me and Mason played for that U team. When we played one game, I get home, Mason calls me and he goes, hey, bro. I said, what's going on? He said, I got a question, man, like, because this has been bothering me. I'm like, what's up? He's like, bro, did we get slower or did these mofos get faster? And the reality of the situation is, at that point, bro, they got faster. Even in my best, at the moment, I was an older guy. And the U is filled with vets and older guys that are now having to be forced to chase around these 20-year-olds. It was going to work in 21. Once most of the guys left and retired, 22, we seen what happened. 23, it was a bounce back, but then that's a year that BIC wasn't taking it as serious, and Vegas took it over. Now, the BIC team that we're seeing right now is the one that I thought we were going to see last year. So, in saying all that, there's not a lot of youth on the side of the U. You have Huff, but he's getting up there. Then you got Haas as the new guy. Then you got a guy like Mims. And then you got Sadiq Pitts. It's not a lot of young guys. So Father Time is going to catch up to the U eventually, and they're going to have to do exactly what I told Carl Meisner and Kenny Stansberry to do a couple of years ago. I said, bro, if you want to do this, you're going to suffer for a little bit. When everybody left BIC, I told Carl and Kenny, just get rid of everyone. Everyone from the old guard. They all got to go. Anybody who's from the old days of BIC, they got to go. Bring in fresh new blood, revitalize. And we see how that's working for BIC. I think that you have to implement something of the sort, start bringing in new players and start retiring some of these older guys. Some of these guys have been playing.
Here's a question for you, Rob, and we'll move on to our number 5 team.
Yeah.
If you're the U right now, does this just become the Jason Sisson show? Because Huff is going to be... Huff said he got hurt in the BIC game on Sunday, and he'll be out for what seems to be the remainder of the regular season. So do you have Jason Sisson take over that role? Do you have Carlos Croslin come back and just establish that backstack offense? Or do you go full-blown Tampa-style offense and break it wide open with Sisson as the guy behind center?
Honestly, I wouldn't mind that. I think you keep Croslin where he's out on defense. He looks good there. You have Sisson at the quarterback position. You allow him to rotate with Moon to, probably get a better feel for it. And then you still got a guy like Marcus McKinney whose IQ is pretty up there. He can go back there and get some work in. So, pause. But he can definitely get that done. So the U's not finished by a long shot. But losing Huff right now, it's going to force them to find a slightly different identity, but it's still the same U. I don't think anyone else is going to beat them, but their wall, they've met the wall. The best thing about it is they met the wall. They know what they have to do to get over it. All they have to do is execute. That's it.
And they got to survive. And if they're questioning the health at quarterback, the tough part for me with Sisson, Matt, is not that he's not a dynamic, amazing playmaker, but when you take him out of like a Percy Harvin role where he's getting the ball in space and he can use his acceleration, agility, and top end speed to the best of its usefulness, and you take him out of that situation in a Percy Harvin role, and you go back there and you say, well now you got to be, enter running quarterback here. The one question mark about Jason Sisson's game is his ability to consistently take the hits. And if you put him in a position at quarterback where that's a lot more of a hypothetical disaster than when he's able to get the ball in space,
okay.
I would go maybe Moon because of the savvy, the play calling, the game management, and that that clutch ability that we just can't deny because it's just prevalent every time he has the opportunity. But again, can't count them out. You can't start writing them off yet. Father Time is eventually going to win, but don't start writing that chapter early for them. They're the U for a reason.
That's a fair point. And let's go to a team to where in any other situation I feel like Rob would tell us to go fuck ourselves in the number 5 spot. Sure. The Sin City Chaos. Walking in, gentlemen, in a situation to where, and Rob, I don't know how you're going to feel about this, but when we look at the standings around the A7FL, and you can check this out on our website, right now when it's based on net points, just straight up net points, you know who's at the top of the list?
Let me know.
It is
the real
Sin City Chaos. They are the highest scoring offense in the league. They have scored 165 points, 75 of those last Sunday, but they have the highest net point margin. They have outscored their opponents this year 165-12.
Damn.
They are above every team. They are above the BIC, who are in second, the Insomniacs in third. In terms of points scored, the U are in fourth, and the Covington Heist are fifth, but the U have a lower net point ratio. Overall scoring, the U are 10th because they have a net point ratio of 30. They have the second lowest positive point differential in the A7FL right now, the Patterson U. The team that they're above that still has a positive.
Well, the U's the only team. The U's the only team that has played 3 teams that are in this top 10, right?
Yes, yeah. The U are the only team to play. Yeah. No, and it's not a harbinger on the U.
Yeah, no,
but
I'm just saying.
All the other teams from here on out are undefeated. The Sin City Chaos beat the Volcanoes by a sizable score on Sunday. They have a big game going up against the Heist. It's hard to pick against them right now. We've talked with Trey Robinson about he personally believes that if the Chaos play anybody from Vegas, they're not going to lose again. We'll have to see that play out. But
well, let me just say this as we talk about the Chaos. As much as we love Trey Robinson, and he's a really great player and a great ambassador for this game because of that he is Jet Set Trey and all that. He does come off, in my opinion, just to frame it a little biased in some of the Vegas slander. Just for my guys out west who I have now become the apologist for. But I'm going to say this to you guys, and I just sent it to the group chat. And it is what it is. But I've been watching the Chaos film. And one of the things that we talked about and what I talked about when you looked at the Chaos, as we mentioned Skylar Hurd earlier in this pod, was their offense seemed to me to be just Keno Thomas dropping back, waiting, running around like a chicken with his head cut off, doing his best Fran Tarkenton impersonation. Shout outs to Matt's contacts list. And look it up. And basically just out-athleting teams from Ohio that looked to just be, beneath where the Chaos were in organization and athleticism. Guys, Seth Kozak, okay? Quarterback, drops back, fires the ball. Now, granted, he does have, 11,000 seconds in the pocket each play. And the teams that they are playing it looks like they're not even rushing guys. And they're only playing the hook to curl zones in a cover 2 with no safeties back. So let's be clear on the competition level that I've seen on tape. But Rob, Matt, I just sent to you your phones on our group chat.
I'm watching the footage now, and kid's got an arm. First play, he does a 3-on-1 throw off. The guy returning it does not know how football returns work, touches the ball, it's in the end zone, he ends up giving up a touchdown. So this guy can score.
He ends up scoring a touchdown as the thrower on a 3-on-1 and then recovers it himself, which is amazing in itself. But we talked about some, special team type third string quarterbacks in the A7FL history that, we don't think are going to go in and execute offense.
To Faux Fusion Productions on YouTube. That's faux spelled like the noodle soup, PHO Fusion, the usual way. Productions on YouTube for putting that highlight together.
But when you look at the quarterback plays, Matt, as you're looking at it, right? When you look at the quarterback plays, he's throwing. Now, are they perfectly covered? Whatever. That's not what you look at. He's throwing deep passes on target, two guys running in stride. And if Keno Thomas is able to play his natural position and maybe, be more of the playmaker and not the play starter, and they have a true quarterback that's able to kind of deliver the ball, and they got offensive linemen like Jonathan Clark that are blocking, and defensive players like Drizzy Pope that are covering and making plays defensively.
Bro,
if they go up against the Heist and they absolutely dominate the Heist, and every single one of their games is like this 80 to whatever score, we're going to take them seriously until they face an opponent, right?
We won't. I'm sorry. We won't. You shouldn't have sent that. You shouldn't have sent that video. Shouts to the guys who did that. You shouldn't have sent that video. Before that video, anything you were saying just now, I would have just believed.
He's
No.
Go ahead. What did you see in the video?
Nobody rushes him.
Yeah, I know.
He's in the backfield in practice, just throwing the ball up to guys who he knows are going to get 7-on-7.
Yeah, he's playing 7-on-7.
It's 7-on-7, no rush. Not impressed. Great throwing, all that. But Cory, you're telling me you couldn't do that too if no one rushed you?
Bro, I wish I had the chance to show you guys. I just wish that I ask the Watchman. I bet you the Watchman would give me the credit that I could do things like this. And they just played me, and they just crushed me. They just absolutely.
I want to give you the credit that you could do things like this. I can do things like this if no one rushed me. Now show me that against a forefront of guys who don't give a damn about anyone in front of them and are going full throttle and don't even know what your running ability is like. Yeah, when I see that, I'll give him the credit.
We missed you, Rob. We missed you. And to be clear, the Ohio guys missed your takes. But the chaos quietly crawling up the top 10, undefeated, great points differential. But the one game on their schedule that they probably should have had circled early on is coming up. They better not lay an egg, or that 5 will turn into a 15 real quick. And by the way, you won't see your name if it's a 15. You just won't see it. It'll just be there in the ether.
Let's talk about a team that had a statement win this past Sunday in Las Vegas. A team that remains undefeated and looking into the remainder of this season. Feel like they might have this pretty well covered as the Sick With It walk into week number 4 in the number 4 spot in the 3-on-1 top 10. They did something that the Insomniacs could not, and they blanked the Vegas Force 34-0 in the primetime spot this past Sunday night. And Cory, you hate to say that you told us so, but
man, you fucking guys, huh? You guys are like, yeah, Sick With It, blah, blah, blah. We have them up here. We're going to drop them to 9, blah, blah, blah. We're rehashing, whatever. We don't even have to talk about last week. Let's talk about this week. Let's talk about where we are now. Who did Sick With It play? Week 1, pit bosses. Week 3-ish, right? Whatever. We're just looking past that whole other thing. Force. Who are 2 teams that the everyone's lovely favorites in the Vegas division, Insomniacs, played?
That would be the pit bosses and the Force.
They played another team, but they also played those 2 teams. Now, when we came on this podcast after week 1 and talked about the Insomniacs and the Force, the story coming out of that game was, good job, Force. Good job, Force, right?
Right.
How does that look now that Sick With It went in there and Jeremy Geary showed every single person that was watching in real time that, yes, you're going to give him a clean pocket and no one's going to be anywhere near him, but not as clean as Ohio. This guy is dropping dimes everywhere. Everywhere. And to me, it's the same conversation that we would have with a team like, for instance, the Heist, right? Okay. You're not going to be able to say that you're the big brother until you beat the big brother head-to-head in a matchup. And, Insomniacs could crawl into every single game, win by 8 points, and when they play Sick With It, if it's a 50-point margin because they finally showed up and actually played football, we're not going to look at the rest of the game versus game situation. But what this little phenomenon shows me is that, at least to this point, Sick With It is hungry to get better week in, week out. They look at every snap as an opportunity to make up that difference, whatever the difference is, or the perceived difference is at this point, between them and the team in front of them. And if you're in this league and you're trying to win what matters, the championship, and your first goal is to catch the guys in front of you, Sick With It is doing exactly that. And now it's only 2 weeks and it's two teams that, when we now look back at it, the Force maybe not who we thought they were or who we wanted them to be. But I also think there's a level of, hey, guess what? Sick With It is this type of team. And if they're ready to come on here and say that they're going to beat BIC and the Watchmen by 60 or their friends are, that's not where we are at. Okay? Just to be clear, that's not where we are at. Where we are at, though, is if the Insomniacs continue week in, week out, approach the A7FL as if it's theirs, and no one's going to threaten them until it becomes the playoff time, they may still have that gripe that they've never played anybody other than Vegas or Florida, because they won't even make it out of their own fucking division, because Sick With It is ready to fucking kill them if they don't come with that energy. And I have been saying this to you guys forever, both to you guys privately and to the Insomniacs as clearly as I possibly can, because that championship, the rerun year, the path to the repeat, if you don't go in with it with the same energy that you started the original run with, someone is drooling to catch up to you and remind you what it takes to be a winner. And look, it's not written in stone yet. Everything is still out in front. And that includes for the Kryptonite and the OTT and even teams like my Renegades, who, if you're listening from my roster, everything that you're saying means nothing if you're not willing to do the winning things. And that goes for the entire league as a whole, because the 10th season, you've seen what BIC brought to the table. You saw week 1 what the U brought to the table and how BIC humbled them. And my guys went to the Watchmen in Baltimore with probably not enough guys. And the Watchmen, to be clear, are not here to let what happened to them week 1 ever happen again. If you want to win and hold up that trophy, you're going to have to fight with every ounce of your being week in, week out, because you're not going to be good enough, Insomniacs specifically, unless you approach every single matchup like Sick With It seems to, where the goal is to dominate on offense, defense, special teams, put up a goose egg, complete 85% of your passes, and make everyone in the league look at you and what you're doing to your opponents. The Chaos are on the right timing, because they lost to the Insomniacs last year. The way that it looks right now, Trey Robinson is not insane to think a team like the Chaos that is showing that they're hungry by winning 75-6. What was the score? And I'll filibuster just a little bit here. Insomniacs pit bosses this weekend?
The Insomniacs pit bosses this past weekend was 46-18. In comparison, the Sick With It won 48-6 in week 1.
Now, not crazy.
No.
Right? Not the Insomniacs aren't laying down, but the more glaring thing to look at is how Sick With It went against the Force, and it was 34-0. The Force looked like a B team. In week 1, the Insomniacs let the Force stay in the game long enough that things go one way or the other. The Force could have walked out of that game with a win. Now, the Insomniacs were clearly the better team, and I think the Insomniacs are a really great team. But look no further than a calendar year ago today, right?
Just to expedite things, the Insomniacs are at 3. So we got that going for us. So we don't have to relitigate all this when we get to the Insomniacs.
So good job, Sick, for climbing in the ranking, but you still didn't press the Insomniacs yet.
No, they got to beat them, in my opinion.
When do they play them?
That would be...
Isn't it week 5? Not this weekend, but next weekend.
So that would be May 5th.
That's a huge game.
Is that Orb Bowl 2?
I think so. For this season, yeah.
Orb Bowl 2.
And shout out to everybody who took the Orb Bowl seriously. But Insomniacs at 3 this week, they play against the Las Vegas Hunters. Closed caskets for that one. I feel like the Insomniacs are going to try to make a statement, but we move
80.
on. Yeah, they're going to try to be the 80 boys again.
Do it.
But at number 2, the Nightcrawlers, they fall from the 1 spot to the 2 spot for inactivity. And, well, because the number 1 team in this league may or may not have one of their players and played the game of their year, might have been the best game this team has played since they won the championship in 2022. The Trenton BIC in the number 1 spot. And, Rob, we were up there in the shipping container on Sunday. They earned that spot. They earned the orb. They earned the win. And now they sit atop the Northeast Division with no other undefeated teams right now really in the mix. Every other team is...
They have a loss. Everybody has a loss except them.
Everybody but the BIC have a loss in the Northeast Division. And that's going to be scary for the rest of the teams that play them the rest of this year. They play the DC Buzz down Baltimore way this Sunday. If the Buzz defense is able to get the opportunities they did, they might make this game a little more interesting, but I think it's chalk in terms of who we think that game will be in favor of this coming Sunday in Baltimore. But looking at the rest of this BIC season, they take on the Buzz this week. They are in Baltimore. No, they play the Watchmen next week on April 28th, and their final game will be on May 5th. That's week 6 of the regular season, as they will face the Animals. That'll be a very fun and a very interesting game because the Animals might be feisty, and I don't know if the BIC are going to bring everybody to that game, but we're hearing rumors that we might see some debuts this week or next week. We saw Courage Mosey come back and be a key part of that BIC offense in the first half, Rob. And we were worried that a lot of these parts weren't going to be able to work together, to mesh together. But another great performance by the BIC offense. Sterry so far on the season, 32 for 42, 733 yards, 12 touchdowns. Damn. And then running, he has 10 attempts. He's averaging 28.8 yards a carry. And he has 4 touchdowns on the season.
Yeah, now you can ask. Remember we were doing it after week 2? Now you can ask about the MVP race, and those numbers say it right there.
Oh, no, whoa. Slow down there, buddy. Those numbers don't do shit. Dave Valley is the clear leader for MVP in this motherfucking league.
Listen, Thick Boy season for sure. Right? Go ahead.
Dave Valley single-handedly bullied the U into submission last week. We're not about to even play this game. The BIC went and got the size they needed to deal with those roughnecks on the D-line, and they didn't get bullied. Dave Valley was story.
What's his story?
He's a flag player. He's a flag
He's a flag player, former Canadian football player.
Yeah, it wasn't just.
Was he a Saskatchewan Rough Rider?
I don't know, but he's definitely a 35-year-old rookie who might either win MVP or Rookie of the Year. Because the things he did on that field, brother, when I say I've never seen a lineman, including myself, do that, to the point where, Cory, you could have been back there at quarterback. And BIC would have still won that game very convincingly. Very convincingly. To the point where I'm like, yo, if Sterry was hurt, could they still... Trey Robinson would have won that game. And it's not taking away anything from Sterry. It's to really say how amazing Dave Valley was on that line.
I mean, just let's just list some of the names that he's flattened. Just flattened.
Oh, we can go. We can start for number one, Dave Burton for sure. That was the first guy he flattened.
Against the Renegades, he took Samad Jenkins, who was one of Ryan DeFall's favorite defensive players, because he is a guy who benches 340.
Yeah, but no one cares about that because Samad's on a bum team. No one cares. Anyway. But against Samad is not a bum. He's not on a bum team. They're actually a pretty decent defense, but Samad is a smaller guy. So again, it wasn't that impressive.
Well, he did head-to-head blocked Andre a couple times. Not like he did to some of the other guys, but
DeAndre played it off.
Blocking Andre.
And Dave Valley wasn't really in his aggressive bag. When I say I literally watched the film on Valley, I've watched, and it was probably a straight 2-3 minutes of him straight dominating. He flattened Burton. When he got an opportunity to go against Cuff actually put him on his back. The very next opportunity he got against Cuff, he got on top of Cuff and pancaked him.
Yeah, Cuff is Marcel Bates.
He's a football coach. He coaches at Dean College.
Hey, man, listen. Who, Dave Valley?
Dave Valley is a coach at Dean
He's an
College.
Offensive line coach.
Well, now what he's going to do is take that film, and when his guys mess up, he's going to be like, hold up, this is how you do it. Boom.
I'm still doing it.
Yeah, and that's the best way to coach somebody.
Dave Valley blocked Isaac, Big Mo, Nick Mays, Burton, the other Burton, another unknown guy, Marcel Bates, and anyone else kind of ran away from him. He blocked Sly. Sly was one of the best defenders in Baltimore, who at one point I went down there to Baltimore with with Cory, Cory Price. And I watched Sly by himself completely annihilate our offense by himself because of the way he was QB spying. He was out there blocking Sly.
He doesn't quit. Who's a DB?
He's a DB. He doesn't quit. He has a hell of a motor. His anticipation skills are crazy. He uses every possible move you have in a lineman's arsenal to make the position look fun again. If you had a son that was a lineman, you would want him to block like that. Dave Valley, right now, you're hearing me say it, and you heard me say it on the broadcast, is the best offensive lineman we've ever seen in this league. Hands down. Hands down.
It is insane in a league where we trade in highlights like the one now on the 3-on-1 page with Dakari Mims having one hell of a touchdown celebration and the epilogue of that, to where we conceivably could see an offensive lineman nicknamed the Big Boss Man because he just looks like a state trooper be the most valuable player in our league. That is on paper, that is an absurd argument, but I really can't argue with you right now. It comes down
his
to
his name is
Valley.
Dave. His name is Dave Valley.
Dave Valley.
His name is Pave Valley. He's just rolling dudes. Is that all right? He's just steamrolling dudes.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I think
it's C-, but it's not bad. It's not bad.
I think that, as good as anything, is a great way to end this podcast. The pregame pod drops this Sunday at dawn. You'll be hearing some of the clips of this week's show on there as we talk about probably this chunk about Dave Valley and a few other things. But we'll hear from Jaquan Mason. We'll hear from Dub Alvarez. We'll hear from people around the league. and we may hear some of your voicemails. 516-387-A7FL. That's 516-387-A7FL. Be sure to go to tinyurl.com/A7FL merch. Pick up an Orb Bowl t-shirt, but we've been recording for way too long, and I'm very tired. For Big Rob Fabian, for our guest Trey Robinson, for Cory Hammond, I'm Matt Ryan, saying as always, don't be an asshole.
I don't think I did anything asshole-ish today, so I'll try.
This has been an Ember Media production.